Hello and welcome to the Survival to Success podcast. Today, I decided to hop on and talk to you about ayahuasca. And the reason that I'm doing this podcast is because after I did episode 56, where I talked a lot about the use of ayahuasca and being reborn, I had many questions through social media and through email asking me, what the heck is ayahuasca? And the questions I was getting was, I've heard of ayahuasca. Can you tell me more about your experience? And so what I wanted to do today is to talk about all of the questions I'm being asked about ayahuasca, and I'll give you some little tidbits of some of the experiences I've had personally with ayahuasca. And first of all, ayahuasca is extremely powerful, and it's a very transformative substance or plant that many will call the mother of all plants. And what I've noticed is it's getting to be a little bit more known and a little bit more popular sort of in the last few years. And this plant that traditionally came from the Amazon has been used for thousands of years by many indigenous people, and it's being used for things like healing and spiritual growth and self-discovery. And there are many known benefits of ayahuasca that people talk about on YouTube and through their experiences, but many people still have questions and maybe some concerns about this plant and how powerful it is. And so in this podcast, I'm going to do my best to answer the most frequently asked questions about ayahuasca to help you better understand what it is and what you can expect from the experience. And I will give you little bits on my experiences as I go through the questions. So the first question that I get asked all the time is, what the heck is ayahuasca? And so ayahuasca is a very powerful psychedelic plant medicine. It's made from the ayahuasca vine, which some people will just call capi, and also the leaves of the chacruna plant. And when you take those two, the vine and those leaves, and you boil them together for several hours, they create a very powerful brew that some will call a tea, that is extremely powerful and is capable of inducing like really powerful hallucinations and profound spiritual experiences. Now, I have been through, I believe, probably 11 different ayahuasca journeys, including several here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and I've also been through another 8 or so in Peru. Just at the end of 2022, and I had I was blessed to be part of the process of hammering the vines and layering the leaves in the pot, and actually being part of the process of creating the brew. And us as students of the teacher in Peru, we were able to spend the time with the brew as it was boiling, and offer our blessings and give our love to the brew. And then we were able to actually use the brew that we made for our experiences and for ceremony, which was very powerful. And I'll talk more about that at some point, but it is incredible to be part of that process. Now, the second question I get asked is ayahuasca legal? And I have to say that whether it's legal or not varies a lot from different countries, and I can't give you feedback on every single country, obviously, but like for countries like Peru, it is definitely legal to use in ceremony. Some countries, like for example in the U.S., it's considered Schedule 1, which makes it illegal to use, possess, or distribute. And I think there's some religious organizations in the U.S. that have special licensure to be able to do ayahuasca journeys or ceremony for spiritual purposes, but I can't tell you exactly which ones. And some countries, like for example Spain and Portugal, I think they have some legalization for ceremonial use. And then some, like for example Germany, it's illegal as well. And here in Mexico, we are allowed to use it for ceremonial purposes, but not for recreational purposes. So that gives you just a little bit of an overview of the legalities of ayahuasca. And you may want to just do your own research depending on where you're located. Now, another question I get asked is, what can I expect from the ayahuasca experience? And the ayahuasca experiences, from what I've seen, and I've been part of, I've done, numerous journeys, and I've been part of groups and had the experience with people of all ages, including people in their 80s and younger people, like in their 18 years old and things like that. So I've seen a wide variety of age groups and witnessed many experiences. And the experiences, while they are intense and powerful, they vary immensely from person to person. So some common experiences, like for the most part, most people will have intense hallucinations. They will gain profound insights and a very deep sense of connection to the spiritual realms. And the experience is almost always challenging to some degree, and it's not uncommon for people to have some fears or anxiety or some deeper, maybe even negative emotions during the journey. And I think when I speak about this, one of the most important things when you're going to have an ayahuasca experience is to have that experience with people who are experienced to help you with preparing for the experience, and also during the experience who can support you and prior to the journey can give you some idea of what to expect, and when you feel, let's say, some fear, what to do during those times, or when you start to feel nauseated, what to do. And so having that support and guidance during those experiences and surrounding them, including afterwards, are very important in my opinion. And the benefits of ayahuasca is the next question. And I would have to say that the benefits of ayahuasca are many, but they are, again, quite variable from person to person. But people can have things from even physical and mental healing, big time spiritual growth, and for sure massively increased self-awareness. And so a lot of people use ayahuasca for things like overcoming addictions, depression, PTSD, and other mental health issues. And some people simply want to use it, just to gain a deeper understanding of their spiritual path, to get some guidance on what's the next level of spiritual evolvement that I'm, just to get some guidance from Mother Ayahuasca on that path. And for me, some of the experiences or the benefits that I've had is, especially during my very first journey, I really had this massive opening of all these positive memories from my childhood that I had completely forgotten. And it was just so, almost it didn't make me cry, but it just made me feel so incredibly happy to just have all these memories open up that I had forgotten about. And even after, for sometimes weeks after that first journey, I had more and more positive memories coming up from childhood that I had forgotten about, which was very good. It was very heartwarming for me. And also part of that very first journey was it allowed me to get to a place where I felt like I was completely at one with the universe. I felt like I was part of everything. I was part of the plants, the trees, the air, just every part of the universe. I really felt like I was at one. And it completely changed my perspective on life, big time. And some other things that happened in some other journeys I've had is I was able to just really capitalize on my inner strengths. I really was able to tap into my personal power and my inner warrior. And at one point, I had a very deep journey in Peru, which I was just so blown away because I actually connected with and healed the ancestors on my father's side of the family. And there was it was so vivid and so powerful. And I'm not going to get into every single journey I've had, but all I can say is that all of the journeys I had were extremely powerful, and they allowed me to peel off numerous layers and to heal and to evolve spiritually at a very fast rate. So I feel very blessed to have had those experiences, and this is why I'm really involving or including a lot of plant medicine work with the healing work that I do with clients. Another question I get asked is, what are the risks of ayahuasca? Well, it's a very powerful plant. So, of course, there are potential risks and side effects. And some of the common things that happen is just a sense of nausea during the journey. Some people have vomiting and maybe some diarrhea, some stomach upset. And there's also the potential to have increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, and sometimes you feel really hot. And this is one of the reasons why it's very, very important to, if you're taking prescription drugs or if you have a heart condition or any other medical conditions, that you let your teacher, your healer, or whoever is serving you ayahuasca know this ahead of time, so they can actually refer you to somebody, so that you can either reduce your dose of medications or get off your medications. And in most cases, the safety of ayahuasca is best if you don't take any medications at all, because if you look at the list of interactions with ayahuasca, it's extremely long. So this is where it's good to have somebody with the experience who's worked in Western medicine, who understands plant medicines and who understands the medications used in Western medicine and how those can interact, because it's important to have that person on your side to do the consultations, because your average doctor out there is not going to know anything about plant medicine. So it's very important that you speak to somebody who has the knowledge of both the plant medicines as well as Western medicine. And in some cases, during the journeys, people can have a lot of a fear or anxiety during the experience. But again, this is where it's really important to have the person the person that you're going to be working with to prepare you for the experience, so that you know what to do when you feel those things, and also to help you to integrate those feelings and what's come of it after the experience. And so they call that integration. So it's not just the ceremony itself that has the effect, and it has, maybe the most intense effect, but you will have feel some layers coming off and some different changes, and that from doing the detox and all those things before the ceremony. And then there's the period after the ceremony, which can be weeks or even months after, where you may have some feelings come up and some different experiences, some different memories come up, that it's really important to work with somebody that has an experience with the ayahuasca, whether it's a therapist or an integration coach like me, who can help you with those things. Now, how do I prepare for an ayahuasca ceremony? So there's people that reached out to me and says, how do I get ready for such a thing? I want to do this. So there's a lot of preparation for the ayahuasca ceremony. And for me, I think it's important to prepare both physically and mentally. And this preparation includes a special detox. And I always say it's a detox and a diet, because you have to stay away from certain substances, and you have certain foods. And it's also important to keep yourself in a peaceful mindset, to not be hanging out in bars and around a lot of negative energy. And then you don't want to be engaging in sexual activities and things like that. So there's kind of a period of time, and just based on my experience, I would recommend that a person doing ayahuasca for the first time do a detox and prep for about 3 weeks before, and then up to 3 weeks after as well. And I talk a lot more about that in my this ayahuasca program I'm putting together, because there's a lot of detail with that. And then the next thing is really important, so that you can have the best experience. Find a place where there's somebody who is a reputable ayahuasca server, teacher, or healer, and then take the time to check their references or check their reputation before participating in the ceremony, because you want to make sure that you're being asked the right questions to make sure that you are a safe participant with ayahuasca, to make sure that you have the preparation and the information that you need to be well prepared for the ceremony. So overall, I would say that ayahuasca is extremely powerful and extremely transformational, and it's been around for thousands of years, used by indigenous people for healing, spiritual growth, and deep self-discovery. And while the experience is very intense and powerful, it's also important to understand the potential risks and the benefits, and also how to prepare for and how to integrate the experience afterwards. So it doesn't matter if you're using it for personal growth, spiritual exploration, or healing. It's just very important to be well educated and to make an informed decision. And because I've had so many questions and many people reaching out to learn about ayahuasca and to prepare for their own spiritual journey, I've decided to create a very thorough online program to educate and to support people interested in learning more, and those people interested in having their own experiences with ayahuasca. And you know what? There's many people who want to explore how the use of plant medicines can work for them and how it can transform their lives. So I encourage you to email me or DM me on social media for any questions you have about ayahuasca and plant medicines. And for sure, if you're interested in more information about the upcoming ayahuasca program I'm putting together and how it will completely transform your life, for sure, send me an email and let me know. And some of you know me, some of you don't, but I have had 25 years experience in Western medicine. I've had a lot of experience with ayahuasca. I've worked with integration. I'm also a hypnotist and a healer. And I certainly encourage you to discuss this with me. And you're welcome to go to my website, which is www.dianegudmundson.com. And you can sign up there with your name and email to get more information. And you can also email me questions directly at support@dianegudmundson.com, and I will certainly personally reply to your questions. So I thank you so much for listening. I trust that you got some benefit from this information. I've been getting so many questions, so I decided to hop on and give you at least some general information about ayahuasca. I thank you again for listening, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this entire podcast. Please share this podcast with your friends and family. Thank you for doing this, because you then assist me to help others. Also, if you can do a positive review of this podcast on your favorite platform, this will also help me to reach more people. If you have questions or want to work with me as a divine healing coach and hypnotist, please feel free to DM me on social media or email me at support@dianegudmundson.com. You will not want to miss any episodes of this podcast, so sign up with your name and email on my site at dianegudmundson.com. I will put the links down in the show notes for you, so go check it out now. Thank you again for listening,